Imagine a world where everything was controlled by kings, priests, and unquestioned tradition. The earth was ruled by superstition, religion, and monarchs who told people what to believe, how to think, and even how to live. For centuries, this world was in the dark. But then, a spark of reason led the way. It started with one monk, Martin Luther. In 1517, he nailed his 95 Theses to the door of a church, challenging the Catholic Church's authority. This wasn't just about religion. It was about questioning everything. Welcome to the Enlightenment.
Printing press, invented only a few decades earlier, spread Luther's message far and wide. Books, pamphlets, and ideas started flying across Europe, and it got people thinking. Why can't we think for ourselves? Why do we need kings or priests to tell us how to live? This was the beginning of the Enlightenment, the Age of Reason. It wasn't just about religion, it was about freedom. The freedom to think, to question, and to understand the world for ourselves. A new world was beginning, and the darkness of ignorance was fading away. Welcome to the Enlightenment.
As the Enlightenment spread, so did a new revolution of ideas that would change the way we think about the government, society, and ourselves.
This drunken little German monk is intoxicated with himself.
As Enlightenment spread, it wasn't just a change in religion, it was a revolution of ideas. Thinkers across Europe began asking questions people were too afraid to ask for centuries. What makes a government? What makes society fair? And most importantly, why should we obey? Jean-Luc, one of the greatest thinkers of all time, argued that people weren't born to serve kings. No, people have natural rights. Life, liberty, and property. Locke believed that the government job wasn't to rule with absolute power, but to protect these rights. Locke argued for social contract, a contract in which the government exists with the consent of the governed, not the other way around. If a government isn't protecting those rights, people have the right to overthrow it. And it wasn't just Locke. Thinkers like Montesquieu and Rousseau began questioning the very structure of society itself. Montesquieu believed the separation of power, dividing the government into branches to prevent one person from taking all the power. This was the spark that ignited revolutions, the English Revolution, the French Revolution. The people would no longer bow to rulers. They would rule themselves. Are you ready to question everything?
While some people were fighting for freedom and equality, some people were looking up, way up at the stars.
The scientific revolution changed everything. No longer did the Earth sit at the center of the universe. Galileo, with his telescope, discovered that the planets orbit around the sun, not the other way around. This simple observation shattered the old religious beliefs about the cosmos. Isaac Newton gave us the law of gravity, showing that the universe was not governed by divine will or magic, but by natural laws we could understand, measure, and predict. It wasn't just about science, it was about reason, the ability to understand, to observe, and to know. Enlightenment thinkers took this approach and applied it to politics, law, and human behavior. They realized that everything could be questioned. Everything could be with reason. Even religion. Enlightenment emphasized secularism, the separation of church and state. For the first time, people realized that the science and reason could coexist with faith. But one thing was certain, that reason.
And what's the next frontier for reason? What can we discover next?
While Enlightenment thinkers sought reason and equality for all, One key group was still left behind: the women of the time.
The Enlightenment was a brilliant law, but it did not rest for everyone. While the ideas of the freedom and equality blazed, some were left in the dark.
Women stood on the edges watching, told that reason and rights belonged to men alone, but some weren't content to watch anymore.
Mary Wollstonecraft did not ask politely. She demanded that should have the obvious, that women, like men, like she's the thinkers, demeanors, creators. She argued that it wasn't nature that held women back, but chains forget the ignorant. She didn't just want the equality, she wanted to break the silence, to remind the world that freedom isn't freedom if it's only a few for a few.